Good afternoon, students. Here we are going to discuss today sludge digestion. Now, what is sludge? Sludge is produced as solid waste in the settling tank or sedimentation tank and other treatment operations during sewage treatment. Okay. So sludge is the solid waste that is produced in the settling tanks, in the secondary sedimentation tanks during sewage treatment. The Imhoff tank, the septic tank, combine a settling basin and a sludge digestion tank. It is arranged in such a way that sludge, that is the solid waste, settles to the bottom and sewage is allowed to flow slowly through. Okay, so the raw sludge, the activated sludge and secondary sludge are the common types of sludge that are formed in these type of primary and secondary sewage treatments. Now, sludge contains many number of pathogenic microorganisms and hence it has to be disposed of safely. To dispose it of safely, it is necessary to stabilize it, treat it before disposal into on a land or in a dumping yard. So sludge digestion or sludge stabilization of the solid waste before disposal through anaerobic digestion is a beneficial process. Okay, so sludge can be digested both aerobically as well as anaerobically, but here we are going to discuss anaerobic sludge digestion because it is a more beneficial process. Now, anaerobic digestion of raw sludge has two benefits of generating energy as well as stabilizing or treating the sludge. Moreover, anaerobic digestion produces fuel gases, as we said, generating energy. It produces fuel gases. The gases that are produced during anaerobic digestion of sludge are 60 to 65% of methane can be used as fuel gas, 30 to 35% CO2, lower levels of nitrogen, hydrogen, and H2S. So the most important among them is the methane gas. Now let us discuss anaerobic sludge digestion. Now, what happens here? In the absence of oxygen, as the name suggests, anaerobic, that means in the absence of oxygen. The process takes place in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, anaerobic bacteria break down the water-binding organic solids and produce reduced sludge mass. Okay. So anaerobic bacteria break down the organic solids in the absence of oxygen and produce reduced sludge mass, methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen gas, and a number of simpler chemicals. Okay, so this is the basic, you can say, mechanism or principle. That is, in the absence of oxygen, anaerobic bacteria break down the organic solid and produce reduced sludge mass, methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen gas, and number of such simpler chemicals. The basic treatment unit of anaerobic sludge digestion process consists of a tank, usually circular concrete tank of simple or complex design. Okay, so basically anaerobic sludge digestion process is done in a tank which is circular, mostly made up of concrete, simple, most of the time simple in design. Now, anaerobic sludge digestion process is divided into two steps. What is the first stage? The first stage is microbial hydrolysis of polymers. The first stage is microbial hydrolysis of polymers. Polymeric compounds that are present in the sludge like proteins, fats, carbohydrates, other organic chemicals or aromatic compounds these are all polymers. Okay. So long chain polymers are first hydrolyzed by the microorganisms into short chain compounds. Okay. So these long polymers are hydrolyzed by extracellular enzymes produced by the microorganisms into long chain fatty acids, and then ultimately they are degraded into short chain fatty acids like acetic acid, that is acetate. Because acetic acid or most of the acids are produced in this stage by breaking down all these proteins, fats, carbohydrates and all, this stage is known as acid producing stage or acidogenic stage. Okay, so most of the polymers are broken down into long chain fatty acid, then into short chain fatty acids like acetate, which accumulate there, and hence the stage is known as acidogenic or acid producing stage. Most of the microorganisms that are predominantly involved in hydrolyzing the long chain polymers are facultative bacteria like Pseudomonas, Alcaligens, Escherichia, Klebsiella, and Flavobacterium. Now comes the second stage. The first stage is acidogenic stage. In the second stage, methane producing bacteria utilize the acetate, the hydrogen, and carbon dioxide that is produced in the first stage to produce methane directly. Okay. So what happens in the second stage? The methane bacteria utilize the acetate, short chain fatty acids. They utilize hydrogen, they utilize CO2 and produce methane gas directly. So this stage is known as methanogenic stage, methane producing stage. Okay. The microorganisms that are involved in producing methane are obligate anaerobes, and they are methane formers like methanobacterium, methanococcus, methanosarcine, and so on. Okay. So if you look at the two stages, carbohydrates, you can say proteins, long chain fatty acids present, okay, in the waste, oils and all are present in the waste. Non-methanogenic bacteria, rather you can say facultatively anaerobic bacteria, degrade these long chain polymers into small chain fatty acids, alcohols, neutral compounds, nitrogen gas is produced, hydrogen gas is produced. Again, in the next stage, methanogenic the non-methanogenic bacteria convert the short chain fatty acids into acetate. Okay, and methanogenic bacteria produce methane. Carbon dioxide is also produced. Again, the acetates are directly converted into methane by combining CO2 and hydrogen gas. Methanogenic bacteria produce methane under anaerobic condition. Now, how the whole process takes place? The raw solids are pumped through an external heat exchanger to raise the temperature prior to introduction into the digester. Before the raw sludge goes to the anaerobic digester, the raw solids are passed through external heat exchanger. Rather, you can say it is heated up. So the temperature of the raw solids, the raw sludge is increased by passing through heat exchanger, and then the sludge is dumped or introduced into the digester. The contents of the digester, that means the sludge that is put into the digester, is kept in continuous motion by mechanical mixing or by gas mixing. So the contents in the digester are continuously kept in motion. Here we are going to discuss gas mixing. Now, once the microorganisms have finished digesting the organic solids, the sludge is removed from the bottom of the digester and it is dewatered by gravity. Whatever water is there holding to the solid particles, it is removed. So the sludge, digested sludge is dewatered by the action of gravity or vacuum filtration. And then the dried sludge is disposed of on land, where microorganisms break down the small quantity of organic material is left. Okay. So this is the schematic diagram which will explain how anaerobic sludge digestion process takes place. Okay, a schematic diagram of an externally heated anaerobic sludge digester. So the raw sludge is first passed through heat exchanger to increase the temperature. Then the raw sludge goes into the tank, anaerobic digestion tank, and the contents are, as you can see here, they're kept in continuous motion by gas mixing. Whatever gases are released now, they are recycled back into the digester. The gases that are released during the anaerobic sludge digestion are recycled back into the digester. So gas mixing, with the help of gas mixing, the contents are kept in continuous motion. Okay, and once the digestion is over or the sludge has been digested, the stabilized sludge is removed from the digested sludge is removed from the digester. It is dewatered by gravity, okay, and then or vacuum, and then the dried sludge is disposed of on the land, where microorganisms present in the treated sludge will break down the small organic matter which might have been left behind. Okay, this is how anaerobic sludge digestion takes place. Digested sludge can be used for landfill. It can be used as a soil conditioner because it has 1/5 of the value of normal commercial lawn fertilizer. Okay, but though it has 1/5 of the value of normal lawn fertilizer, but it is desirable as a soil conditioner. So it conditions the soil, so it can be used in landfills or also on, you can say, lawns. Now, the most important thing here is condition necessary for methane production. What are those? Microbial production of methane include the conditions that are necessary for production of methane are presence of suitable nutrients, presence of degradable organic matter, presence of sufficient water to submerge or dissolve organic substance and to dilute the soluble compounds to below toxic level, and presence of suitable type of bacteria. All these factors together, all these conditions together support methane production, and hence anaerobic digestion of sludge takes place along with production of fuel gases like methane and hydrogen. Okay, so that is all about anaerobic digestion of sludge. Now, once the sludge has been digested and dewatered, it has to be disposed of, where it can be used for spreading on farmland. It can be dumped on abandoned lands. It can be used in landfilling. It can be used in sludge lagooning, compost as compost, or disposing in inland water bodies or seas. This is how you can dispose of the digested sludge. Okay, so that is all about anaerobic sludge digestion.